Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, it's yet another wet, rainy day in Rain Country, of course. But you know what I found? That when I shoot videos out here on days like today, the overall picture ends up looking better. And I think it's because I don't have like the bright light behind me and then the darker in the front. So I'm going to start doing this from more often. But usually I'd wait till it was a real nice day. But since I have an umbrella here, I'm good. It's not pouring down rain right at the moment, but everything is very wet all around me. So today I wanted to talk about preparedness, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter what your political affiliation is. Because it was really interesting that on the last video I did on preparedness, where I was talking about how we got into it, and it was kind of a series of events. It started kind of small, most of it initially just doing little things to be ready for power outages, because that's normal. That happens to people, no matter whether or not you're a conservative or liberal, a Republican or a Democrat or a libertarian, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or an atheist. It happens to everybody. So, with that in mind, preparedness is for everyone. We may all have different reasons why we get into do what we do. We may all have different life events that kind of got us encouraged to do that. But it really doesn't matter what you believe. It really is a wise choice for everyone. And remember, I say this all the time, or quite often, but preparedness used to never be called that. Prepping, preparedness, these are new terms. It was just the way people lived. And it didn't matter what their affiliations were to any group of people or anything. And it was just the way people lived. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up too is that for the sake of those who like to share this with other people and why they do what they do, whether you be a channel or you're just someone who shares with family and friends, it's really important that you don't approach it from the side of, especially for those, if you're talking to those who are not believers, or they're not more conservative leaning, or they don't believe in any conspiracy theories going on out there. For me personally, I'm more moderate, more on a libertarian mindset, though I don't like religious or political titles because they pigeonhole people into certain things, and then people make assumptions about what they actually believe or stand for when they could be completely off base. I saw some things going on. If you go back and watch that video, which I'll link to down below, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. But really, when it comes right down to it, it doesn't matter if you believe in any of that. If you don't believe any massive, and I said this in the video, if you're not one that thinks that any kind of massive polar shift or global world takeover from some leader is ever going to happen, it's about the everyday things that happen to people no matter where they come from, in all walks of life, all around the world. So as I said, being ready, mostly having skills and knowledge to prepare you for having to live without power when there's a power outage, because you live in rain country where there's lots of really tall trees, and we tend to get some really high winds, so trees are getting knocked down, taking out the power lines. This is the most common thing that happens. There's other things that take out the power too, but wintertime especially, power outages, we get most of them in the wintertime. And so having backup sources of light have always been important, and making sure that we have a way to keep our food cold, because sometimes power outages can go on for a couple of days. It's rare it happens that way, but sometimes it does. Anyway, we can have quite a few, 4 or 5 power outages just within a year. Most of them typically happening in the winter. So that was some of the things that mostly got us thinking about, we need some more oil lamps. We need some more of this, and we need some more of that, so we can be better prepared when the power goes out. And, we can live without TV or internet or whatever. There's plenty enough that we can live without. But knowing that we have a way to keep our refrigerators and freezers running is really nice, or ways that we can insulate them better so they last longer. Having like... Sorry, I have, staying outside, that's a bad thing. My chickens are running loose out here, and I have some young chicks out there, and at least 2 of them are turning out to be cockerels. So There's one out here that's trying to crow. It's kind of cute, but anyway, sorry for the interruption. One of the things I was going to say is that one of the things I used to do was keep bottles or old plastic milk jugs and fill them up with water and keep them in the freezer. So when the power goes out, having a full freezer means that everything in there is going to help keep everything else frozen. Or you can take those things, those jugs and bottles out and stick them in your refrigerator to keep things cold as well. So in fact, one year our refrigerator just quit working. The freezer still worked, but the refrigerator just quit working. And it was going to be a while before we could get a new fridge. And so what I was doing was I was freezing bottles and jugs of water. And then every day I'd change them out. And so making the refrigerator side of our refrigerator basically just like a nice chest. And so just changing the ice jugs and bottles out and, having them scattered all throughout the whole refrigerator. And it worked really well. It was kind of a pain because of all the space it took up. That meant I couldn't keep as much in the fridge as I normally would, but it really worked well. And so there's things that you can do. And that's another thing right there. Anybody can have the refrigerator go out. And either maybe you don't have the money to buy a new one right away, or it might be in a situation where you just don't have the ability to go run out, even if you have the money to go buy a new one because there's nothing available. Or because it's 2020, like what happened with our washing machine in 2020. Our old washing machine that had been tried and true, and Patrick had even repaired it a couple times, got it going again. It finally just was done. It just gave up, and there was nothing. Patrick tried so many things to fix it, nothing worked. We needed a new washing machine, and because it was in 2020, it took 6 weeks. We had to order up the washing machine. It took us 6 weeks to get a new one, but because I have that backup off-grid laundry setup, that's what I used for 6 weeks. I didn't have to run to the laundromat and pay big dollars there, or sit around there and wait for my stuff to get done, which I didn't have time to do. I could do my laundry at home. Yes, that took more time, but in the grand scheme of things, it took less time than it would have for me to run it to the laundromat and have to sit there and babysit it. So this is why most of us do what we do. We do to be ready for whatever life situations arise. That is the way it just always was. That was just the way people lived. And some people, it might not even been something they thought about, because people simply were used to living without power. They were used to using their skills and doing things by hand because electricity wasn't a common thing. So again, coming back to this whole concept, because this person that commented said, well, where's the preparedness stuff for people who believe in global warming? And I was like, well, what difference does it make whether you believe in global warming or not? I wasn't even talking about that, so I don't even know why that came up. But whether you believe in global warming or you don't believe that any big massive things going to happen to prevent you from being able to run your refrigerator or your washing machine or be able to go to the store and get groceries. Let's again remember 2020. Remember that even if you could go to the store, they had areas that were completely blocked off where they wanted you to cook at home because you couldn't go out to eat, but they were preventing you from buying the things you needed to actually cook at home. It was just the silliest time. Or the things that you could buy would be wiped clean from the shelves. So this is why a lot of us do what we do. This is why a lot of us were either already stocked up on toilet paper or had other ways of doing things, whether it be a bidet or, like we do, I have cloth wipes, and I've been using them for quite a number of years. And in 2020, I went from just using it for the simple job to using it for all of it, and I haven't gone back. I actually like using cloth far better than toilet paper, and then I can wash and hang to dry. And so having backups is for everyone, and that's the main point I want to make, as well as for those people who share this information. Try to change your approach so that it's not tailored to only people who are Christians or only people who are Republicans or whatever some people make the assumptions. Because I've had people assume that I voted for Trump just because I'm, a believer and because I'm into being prepared and I am more conservative in my beliefs. But no, I did not. I didn't vote for either one of them, and I won't. That's what I mean by pigeonholing. And then when people pigeonhole you into something like that, people will make the choice to not even listen to you because you either voted for Trump or you voted for Biden or you voted for whoever. And that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter. People from any walk of life can have really good information and all kinds of skills. And I've had people choose to say that anything I had to say had to be a lie simply because I didn't believe in their version of what the earth is shaped like. It's such nonsense. It's such silliness that we allow such silly things like that to deter us from learning good information and from making better changes for our own lives so that we could put ourselves in a better situation. And it shouldn't matter what you believe the shape of the earth is. It shouldn't matter if you believe that aliens exist or whatever it is. None of that stuff should matter. It's just, that's all side issues. And it's really, when it comes right down to it, it's just a bunch of silliness that is only, I believe some of this stuff is perpetrated just to cause divide. Just like everything else we're seeing out there. There's so much stuff that's being pushed that is actually creating a bigger divide amongst the people, thus creating more chaos. And when we allow those things to stand in our way, then we stop learning really great information. I mean, I follow, let's say, as far as my spiritual faith goes, I follow various different channels, but every single one of those, they have something that I don't agree with. Every single one of them. But that doesn't stop me from learning the things that matter. So it really comes down to take what you need when you're gleaning this information and apply it to where you are in your situation. Because like for us years ago, when we've had a couple situations where the road, we've had, we live in rain country. And sometimes it can get more rainy and more wet than what's normal, and roads can wash out, preventing the trucks from coming through to our one store, and then the shelves go bare. And it might take days before they can get through. Another time, total freak thing, was a blizzard. We hardly get any snow. Some winters we get no snow. We just get rain. But one year we had a blizzard. Again, blocked off the roads from both sides of our small town so the trucks couldn't get through. And of course, the bread, milk, and toilet paper were all flying off the shelves. And those are the kinds of real events that can happen. Everybody here in our small town are not Christians, or not everybody in our small town are Republicans. So their political stance, their religious stance had nothing to do with being able to go down to the store and buy some milk, toilet paper, and bread. So just think of it that way. I don't care. When I put information out, it's for everyone. It's meant for everyone. It doesn't matter what your religious belief is. It doesn't matter what your political belief is, even if you're very different from me. I would hope that everybody could glean some good and helpful information that could put them in a better place to be ready for whatever comes along. And just having skills is a great thing anyway. Having a way to keep yourself busy and not get caught up in what is going on out there in the world, no matter what you believe. Sometimes it's just a waste of time. Sometimes it just adds more stress that you don't need. So in what you're giving and in what you're taking, consider all these things. This is for everyone, no matter what. So the way you look at it, the way you approach it should always be done with that thought in mind. And don't make assumptions about what you think somebody believes or doesn't believe, or try to put any kind of titles on them. I've had people make all kinds of wrong assumptions about me just because of one thing. Oh, okay, you took that one thing, now that means I'm this, that, and the other thing, when you are absolutely 100% wrong. So remember that too. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and it just gave you some food for thought when it comes to your approach and when it comes to who you listen to. There's always going to be good information out there no matter what. And there's going to be bad information too. So you got to also make sure you vet your information or base it on on, does that really matter? That when this is what matters most to me. So anyway, share any thoughts, ideas that you may have in comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.